Good evening. Welcome to the September 25th board meeting for the Foxborough Planning Board. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by Foxborough Cable Access, and there is an opportunity that some members of the public or otherwise may be zooming in order to hear certain matters in the hearing this evening. Ms. Fearing.
Good evening. We have a few things to discuss tonight. I did not unfortunately attach the list of peer review consultants, but I can send that to you all after the fact. The way that procurement works for our peer review consultants, who are the ones that double check the engineering numbers and whatnot, they are ranked according to how well they respond to the RFP. And so long as they are responsive, meaning they check all the boxes of what's required, we have to put them on a list, and then we can pull from them as services are required. So it's one of those interesting situations where we have an on-call pool of consultants. So it's a lot of different names, and you'll see that, and you might think, well, why are there so many? But that's why. We basically can't say no to anybody who is responsive to the RFP, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get projects from us. The second item, our new-ish now conservation agent is on track to gain his certification through MACC by year end already. So that's astounding. He was at a hydric soils training today in the pouring rain. So that's dedication, I'd say. We had a kickoff call today with our consultant, J.M. Goldson, who's assisting us with updating our solar and special residential bylaws, and we will pull together probably a group of 5 or 6 folks. If any of you are interested, please contact me to help guide them in terms of their priorities and their desires for items where we might be either somewhat out of compliance with state regs, or maybe the language has changed a little bit in terms of the science behind it, which is the case with our solar regs. They're a little bit antiquated in how the technology is described. So, it's one of those pieces I think we could probably get onto the annual town meeting warrant in spring, and that would be the special residential. But I'd like to hold off on the solar piece, not because it's more complex, but because right now the Department of, what is it, DOER, I can't tell you what it stands for. They're doing solar permitting and siting guidelines that are going to modify some of this stuff potentially. They've already issued draft regs. Given what I've seen from Massachusetts, they're unlikely to change too much about the draft that they put out. However, I'd like to wait until we get the final regulations, which should be coming around in March. And then they're going to be drafting guidelines for municipalities to update their bylaws. So since we're doing the work anyway, it's great that they've already released the draft regs, and we can look to those as we work with the consultant. But I just don't want to have to go to town meeting twice for the same item, so I'm not going to put it before the residents until after the state issues their final guidelines. Obviously, we have the public hearings today. And master plan, we are through with the community engagement stage now. We should be starting to get those draft chapters around, she said, mid-October. So I'll be sending out help us if you can type emails to you all. So please volunteer if there's a chapter that strikes your fancy. And we still haven't heard back on the bike path study. We haven't heard back on MDI either. I did hear, unfortunately, that the state has zeroed out the Massachusetts Downtown Initiative budget from this fiscal year. So there aren't actually any funds for the grant application that we submitted. However, I also heard that 2 other organizations at the state level are going through our applications to see if they can fund them. So my fingers are still crossed that we can be funded, but it won't be through the MDI program. It's a real shame. I think that the Massachusetts Downtown Initiative is one of the most flexible and helpful programs, even though it's such a small dollar amount you can get. But hopefully we can still be funded through some other program. I think that's it from me for tonight.
Okay. We have some minutes.
I sent them out earlier today. They weren't
Yes.
that long.
No, they were not. I read them, I don't know, in a minute, yes.
I'd make a motion that the board approve the minutes for the September 11th, 2025 meeting.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We did receive a request to pull the next item on the agenda. It's not quite ready for your review yet, and the craft group would like to submit probably at the next meeting. I'd imagine they'll be ready. But these are some minor pedestrian improvements to the West Plaza to mirror the more organic design of the North Plaza, how you have like the circular landscaping beds and whatnot, instead of everything being boxy and just concrete. So hopefully, they'll be ready to present that at the next meeting. In other news, I did go out with Scott Shibby, the building commissioner, today, just to take stock of the improvements that have been made to the training facility. And it is coming along very well. They've got drywall up in most of it by now. They're already painting some of the walls. It's really impressive how quickly that project's moving.
Catherine, originally they said the game patrons are going to be able to park underneath that building during game days. I
Yes,
see a lot of foundation that's up to 8 feet high.
yes. So the portion of the building that faces towards you as you're going down back way, like if the stadium's to your right, that portion of the building is going to be the media area. So that there is like about a third of the building that's going to have an actual structure and doorways and entrances and people in it. The rest of it's going to be parking behind that. So it is hard to see where the parking's going to be.
Okay. Quick question on that stadium matter is, do you know the general sense of what they're looking to do? Is it create an outer security barrier farther away from the gates? Like
For
we
the
have?
plaza improvement, not particularly. No, they're not actually going anywhere near the street like that. The sidewalk is just plain concrete right now, and
So it's just kinda
it's
cosmetic
really
stuff.
just landscaping improvements.
You have a page in your packets about that board training on next Tuesday.
Yes.
Administration has asked us to encourage you to attend, gleefully attend the training on Tuesday,
I understand
September
the trainers are
30th.
going to be different this time. I understand the trainers will be a different group this time.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Well, we can attest, Gabby, that you fulfilled your obligation.
Thank
Whether
you.
we show up or not is to be determined.
We will be visiting you at home, knocking on doors to make sure that you
More than
attend.
welcome.
Paige Duncan will be knocking on our doors.
Page
Okay.
says that Jay Tallerman Town Council is hosting.
Okay. There's one other thing that was on your report, the Morse Street item.
Sure.
You want to just talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. 131 Morse Street. We did receive preliminary figures. We still haven't received the final assessment, environmental assessment of that property. But the preliminary figures were above what we had envisioned they would be. So it's going to be a challenging project, but obviously deep enough pockets can get anything cleaned up and restored to use. But I really want to wait till those final figures are in. I still have one person who's very, very interested in the site. I don't know whether he has deep enough pockets for what it's going to cost. But, you know, he'll make that decision once I forward it on. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but that happens sometimes.
Do we have any, I know the last item, the state hospital, I mean, do we have any idea if they're moving ahead on this thing or not?
I forgot to bug Paige about that. I usually check in with her every month on that to see if there's been any movement, and I forgot to do that this past week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I saw our state senator yesterday. I should have asked him why he was there. I didn't think of it. Okay. What time do we have?
I think you're good to go.
So it being on or about 7:10 PM, we have a public hearing warrant article, Foxborough zoning bylaw, various amendments to Chapter 275, Sections 4.1.2, 4.1.4, 5.3.6, 8.1, and 11.1 concerning accessory dwelling units to bring such sections into compliance with applicable state law. Good evening,
Good
Barney.
evening. Trust me, I did not want to be here tonight on these. So, as everybody hopefully recalls, we approved amendments to the zoning bylaw to allow accessory dwelling units at the 2024 special town meeting. And it took a while, but the Attorney General's office, in its review of the bylaw revisions, approved some and disapproved others. And essentially, their disapprovals fall into three categories. Number one was every time I used the word single-family dwelling, they rejected that. And that was because of a definition in the regulations that were adopted by the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities about 2 months after our town meeting. The way they define principal dwelling, it negated the idea of limiting it to a single-family dwelling. So various provisions needed to be changed to comply with that. The second one was the second major issue. As you know, if we have a non-conforming residential structure, if somebody wants to reconstruct it, extend it, or alter it, you need a special permit from the zoning board. And I put language in the bylaw that said if somebody was going to, say, extend or alter or reconstruct their home to allow an accessory dwelling unit, if that home is already non-conforming, you would need a special permit from the ZBA, but that special permit would not apply to the accessory dwelling unit. It would only apply to the extension itself. Well, because the statute says that you cannot require a special permit or other discretionary zoning approval relative to ADUs, they rejected that provision. And as a consequence, I had to revise that as well. And the final one had to do with parking. The state statute and the regulations state that you cannot have a certain number of parking units for an accessory dwelling unit. And if you're within a half a mile of a quote-unquote transit station, which is defined as a commuter rail station, a bus station, a ferry terminal, or a subway stop, that you could not require any additional parking spaces. So in the bylaw that I prepared, I said you cannot require it within a half a mile. You cannot require any parking spaces within a half a mile of a commuter rail station. Because the last time I checked, we don't have a subway stop, we don't have a bus station, and unless somebody is ferrying people across Neponset Reservoir, I don't think we have a ferry terminal. That was rejected. So I needed to, because it was rejected because I didn't include the other items. So I had to make a modification as far as that.
So you have to include them now.
Well, I did by saying commuter rail station or other transit station as defined in the regulations. I refused to go that far.
Then come back.
So essentially, all of the changes that I have made are to comply with the disapprovals that the Attorney General's office provided, and to thereby comply with state law as it currently stands.
Have any of these been reviewed by the state since you rewrote?
I'm sorry?
Has any of them been reviewed by the state since you rewrote these?
No. If
They'll wait till we pass them and then
if
they'll tear them apart again.
town meeting passes it, it'll have to go back to the Attorney General's office again.
I will add that it has been reviewed by both the town meeting moderator as well as our town council. That's why it's in red line form. I just wanted you to see their comments on the draft.
And I'll address them when you're ready, if anybody has any other questions first.
So the state really doesn't want us conditioning this initiative at all, pretty much at all.
Don Schmidt when you need him? I said, yeah.
So my question is, will you answer the questions at town meeting, if any arise?
I'll be there, yes.
Good. I'm good.
I may ask you to help me, but I'll be there. So on the comments from town moderator and town council, I had indicated to Catherine earlier this afternoon, what changes I found appropriate and what changes I didn't. And I rethought at least one of them. I don't know if you want to go through each one of them individually, because I think we would have to amend what I had prepared initially.
However you want to do it.
Up to you. So the first one has to do with the amendment to section 8.1.1, and town moderator suggested that we add the words "the first sentence of," because he was concerned that the way I had initially written the amendment, it would really apply to all the subsequent provisions. So what I would suggest would be, on item number 4, it read, amend section 8.1.1 by deleting the first sentence of such section in its entirety and replacing it with the following.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, the next item would be the amendment to section 8.1.1.4. You can see what town council had suggested, and initially I didn't agree with it, but when I did a little bit further research and thought a little bit more, I felt that he was perhaps hitting a point that was appropriate. And although my language is a little bit different, I think I would agree with what his substance is. So what I would like that section to read is as follows: the principal dwelling and the accessory dwelling unit shall comply with or be granted appropriate relief from the applicable and most permissive dimensional requirements for residential uses except area square footage that are set forth in section 4.1.1, table 4-1, and otherwise is provided in section 4.0 of these bylaws. The reason my language is a little bit different is rather than using residential structures, I'm using residential uses, which appears in the table. And instead of using lot area, I'm using area square footage, which also appears in our table.
Think they'll be amenable to that?
Yeah,
Yep.
good.
In the suggestion relative to 8.1.1.6, again, we cannot require a special permit or other discretionary zoning action relative to an accessory dwelling unit. This section, again, was the one that I had to change because of the notion of special permit. So really what I'm saying here is that we cannot require a special permit. Town council was suggesting adding language, as you can see, relative to findings. My thought is that we would be best utilizing that in rules and regulations that the planning board needs to establish relative to site plan review. Require findings as part of the site plan review provisions.
Okay.
So why originally were you thinking that it would be best to house that function within the zoning board?
I'm sorry, not the zoning board.
No, but originally, that was your thought.
No,
Oh, all right.
no. My initial thought was, again, to require a special permit
Right.
where we're dealing with non-conforming uses, okay? That obviously was disapproved by the Attorney General's office. So in drafting revisions, my thought initially was to include site plan revisions, site plan review provisions within the bylaw itself. And then after talking with Catherine and Kevin, decided not to do that. Within the site plan review provisions that I had initially included, I did require the finding by the planning board as far as that site plan process. So town council is suggesting we put that finding provision in the bylaw. You know, my thought is, if we're going to be establishing site plan review provisions, handle it there. That would be the appropriate way to handle it.
Got it.
So that's a reason for my rejecting, in essence, that wording at the end. Section 8.1.7, town council was suggesting that we use the words compatible with as opposed to comparable to. The only change that I had made to that section was to delete the single-family reference. So the wording comparable to was in what was approved by town meeting last year.
Yeah.
One reason that I want to keep comparable to is we use that same phrase elsewhere in the bylaw relative to exterior materials for structures. So I want to be consistent with that wording.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
So tonight, after discussion is complete, we need a motion and a vote not only on the language of the warrant article itself, but there's also a handout that Barney's generously prepared for the residents to better understand what these changes are and where they originate.
Okay. Do we need to do that now, or can we go to the next subsection? Business is there.
We should probably close the one first.
We should probably close
Yeah.
this hearing
Yeah.
and vote.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing warrant article, Foxborough zoning bylaw, chapter 275, sections 4.1.2, 4.1.4, 5.3.6, 8.1, and 11.1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We need a motion to approve.
Yeah, we can do the motion to approve it now.
Do I hear such a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the public hearing warrant article as I stated 30 seconds ago. Or do I have to read it all again?
I'll write it again.
Okay.
I'd second that.
And make a positive recommendation to town meeting.
Yes.
And why are your reasons for making the positive recommendation?
Oh, that's right.
Well, I think the warrant actually does give a summary as to why we're doing it, and that's probably
Sufficient.
sufficient, more than sufficient.
Yeah.
It's 2 sentences right to the point, so.
There was a second?
There was a second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So what I'll do is I'll give you a clean copy tomorrow.
Thank
with
you.
these changes. Okay.
And then finally, the handout.
You need us to approve that, is that what you're saying?
What was
You need us
that?
to approve the handout, is that what you're saying? I'll entertain a motion to approve the handout for warrant article 15, is that right?
Is this 15?
Yes.
Yes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. It being sometime past 7:15 PM, we have a public hearing for warrant article, Foxborough zoning bylaw, amend the zoning bylaws by adopting a new zoning map incorporating all the changes made to the map previously adopted in 1990, and update references to the zoning map in sections 2.3 and 2.4.
Would you mind grabbing the big map from upstairs? Because we don't have the little ones printed for some reason. Okay. I have asked Gabby to fetch the big map for you so that you can see it. It's this article is really just a cleanup. There's nothing really substantive to this except for a very minor language change within the bylaw itself. Ryan Norton approached us about this project over the summer. He's our GIS specialist, for those who aren't familiar with him. And he said, the zoning map, we've been submitting individual maps of all zoning changes, but the full base map hasn't really been redone since before this millennium began. And it's true. We do rely an awful lot on Access GIS, which does incorporate some of those changes a little quicker, but it's not perfect. There are still times when you click on something and it says that the zoning's one thing, but it's really not. So we decided it's a really good endeavor to just clean that up. So in doing so, we converted the map to GIS, Geographic Information Systems, which is the easiest format to tie data points to geographic locations. So it's very helpful in that manner. As I said, it incorporates all those individual maps that have been approved at town meetings in previous years into one large map of the town. Ryan also added a street index so that you can see by grid where the street that you're looking for is located within the town itself. So that'll help a lot of residents that may or may not know that they're in the southwest portion of the town, and it might take them forever to find their street if they don't have access to something like that. And then finally, the change to the zoning bylaw language. As we were going through that process, Ryan was, he brought an issue to us where the order of precedence of certain factors when it comes to the measurements of the zones in the bylaw, the language isn't clear about which one comes first. So, what we did was we deferred to the first listed item should be first. The locations and boundaries of districts shall be as shown on the zoning map and supplemental maps as amended. Right-of-way is the first one that's listed, so, we've granted that through this addition of language, the precedence. It was listed first, that's the way that most people interpret it, but we wanted to ensure a uniform interpretation for people who are undertaking a similar effort in 10, 15, 20 years' time, whenever it may be. If any of you would like, I can also bring the map to you. But you can see that a third of it is the street index.
Yeah.
Bill, what?
I'm just looking at it.
Are there any questions?
No, I mean, it's an improvement to the map, and it's going to bring it up to date. I think it's important that we get to that at this point.
Okay, so,
Questions by anybody on the board?
No, we got 35 years out of the last map, so I think we're good.
Hopefully.
our job's done till 2055.
You'll still be here, don't worry.
Well, I made a motion, we close the hearing on warrant Article 16.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve the map as submitted?
Map is submitted, and we will handle, do we need to handle the handout as well?
Yes, but don't those have to be separate votes? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
make a positive recommendation.
So we're making a motion to approve the altered zoning map as outlined under Article 16 and make a positive recommendation from the planning board to town meeting.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve the zoning map, base map update, summary, et cetera. It's been submitted.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pretty good. Thank you for all your help. Thanks, Barn.
Thank you, buddy. I'll talk to you.
Okay, thanks, Barney.
Okay, it being sometime past 7:15, rather 7:20 PM. We have a continued public hearing, special permit, 30 Granite Street for a 4-unit multifamily dwelling under Carlbrook Construction, Inc.
Mr. Chairman, good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group, and I'm here representing the applicant, Carlbrook Construction. We met with the board back in July, and subsequent to that, we've had several meetings with your professional staff and consultant in order to go over some of the comments that we received, mostly from the peer reviewer, and we've submitted documentation to the board on the responses that we made, and most of them have to do with the minutiae, being an engineer. So what I'd like to do is just talk about the several big things or bigger things that you could look at on your drawing. And so I would point you toward the board, which is sheet L1.0, which is the next to last sheet in your plan set if you're looking at them. This is a landscape plan, but it shows the things I want to see. So there's some of the major changes that we made on here, which really, in my opinion, are very major. But if you look at the drawing, north is up. So on the left side, the west side, we had a line of arborvitaes between us and our neighbor, Mr. Sides, Mr. and Mrs. Sides. And so at the meeting, we discussed that, and he asked us to change it to something else, so we changed that to rhododendrons. So now that's groupings of rhododendrons along the left side, which screens the parking area from the home. The next thing is along the front, the very front of the thing, and if you look at my hand, you can see it better. Up front there, that's a rain garden. So what that is it's just a low area which we've created in order to put some plantings in there. The runoff from the driveway will go into it. Some of it will be infiltrated, and some of it will continue on its way onto Granite Street, where it currently goes today. And that's a water quality issue that was brought up by the peer review. So that addresses that item of water quality. And then finally, Mr. Martiniak met with the Design Review Committee because Granite Street does fall under that purview, and this is a site plan special permit, so it does require input from the Design Review Committee to this board. And then this board doesn't have to accept it, but if you don't accept it, you have to give a reason why. We accept all the comments that we received from it. I don't, off the top of my head, I couldn't describe it to you because I'm not an architect, but it had to do with making the front of the building as it faces Granite Street look better. So, we haven't made those changes yet, just because we haven't. What we'd like with the board's permission is to make it a condition of the permit that once the final designs are done and submitted to the town for building permit, they have to come back before your professional staff to review to ensure that the comments were addressed. And those were the major issues that we addressed with our new design.
So,
And I'm ready to open
in
it.
looking at the plan, when you say the area facing Granite Street, you mean where it says entrance to basement mechanical room, that area?
Yep.
So it's this elevation. And one other question, Bill. At the very bottom left of the plan, it looks like there's a little, is that a retention area there in the corner?
Yes. So right now, it's down, and there's actually two of them. There's one here, and there's one here.
Right.
If you went back, I don't know if anybody had a chance to go back there, but if you walk onto that site, it goes down. That site's a bowl. It captures all the runoff, basically from Union Street all the way down. So what we've done in the back there, we had to pick it up somewhat because of the water table. Water table's high in that particular area. But we have underground drainage in the back there that's capturing the vast majority of the runoff from the parking area and all of the runoff from the building. But we left some low areas on either side because just to capture the grassed areas that are going there and that will continue to go there off of like Union Street. and we sized it so the bowl actually stretches on to the neighbor's property to the left, the sides and Gafunes, but we made it so that our largest storm doesn't breach that property line. It all stays on our property.
Okay.
And that was, again, confirmed by the town's consultant.
Okay. That was going to be my question, okay.
If I may interject, as a member of the design review, the applicant was very cooperative, very agreeable with all the changes we suggested.
Good
Should
to
be
know.
noted, he was exceptionally cooperative.
Good.
Just in reference to that, when you just requested that there be a conditional approval subject to making those modifications, were you specifically limiting that to the design review board recommendations, or did you mean, have you made all the other changes from the peer reviews already?
Yeah, yes, it's my opinion that we've made all the changes from their peer review, and we received a clean bill of health from them, and also we addressed other issues that the board brought up, and I don't think there were any public safety or DPW or fire issues. I think they all signed off on it.
So any conditional approval would just be limited to those design review or recommendations?
Yes, and all the other normal stuff that you normally put in your permit.
Yes, as Mr. Buckley said, we received our letter from our peer reviewer yesterday afternoon, and all of the matters that they had pointed out were closed, so they were all addressed, and they're part of the revised plans, so the plans on record.
Is there anyone in the audience who has any comments or questions regarding this plan? No? And I noticed that Mr. Sides was up there before. I don't know if he's still waiting to make any commentary or question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, he's there. I heard him for a second.
There we go.
I just had one question. That little strip of land that makes everything possible, can that ever be sold?
I'm saying,
For
repeat.
example, if a builder wanted to do something on the O'Connor property, but needed, say, 6 or 8 feet of setback or something, or is that impossible to be sold? I mean, I could just see down the road that this strip could be bounced back and forth between different builders to get compliance. I've had different people say yes and no on it, so I'm just curious what the answer is.
So, my opinion is, so what that area, so the area of the lot, the required area on this lot is based on our zoning, which is based on the density, the number of units. So in this particular case, we need 38,375 square feet of area for this project. And so, and we're providing 38,829 square feet. So that's about, 450 square feet more than is required. So I guess theoretically, they could sell off 450 square feet and still have a conforming lot.
It wouldn't create a new nonconformity.
No, we could never create it.
I'm sorry.
We could never create a new nonconformity.
I'm sorry, you had a comment?
Oh, I just didn't know what you.
Can
your
you please come to the
Oh,
microphone?
That's okay.
Thank you.
Just state your name and address for the record.
This microphone?
That one, right there.
Hi, I'm Jane O'Connor. I'm 26 Granite Street. I just didn't hear your response to the selling. He could sell a certain amount of the property,
And
but
my comment back
your
was,
comment
that
back
would
to-
not create a new nonconformity. I was questioning that to him.
Oh, okay. I thought you were confirming that. That's why I was just asking. Okay.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Sides?
I guess so, and so basically, it cannot be sold except for 450 square feet.
That's my opinion, yes.
Yes.
But is your opinion your opinion's not law. I mean,
Well, it is in the zoning bylaws. That's the required area.
okay.
So they couldn't sell land to make themselves have less area than is required.
Okay, no, that's fine. We were just kind of curious, because that's kind of like, as we've all noted, that's kind of a unique little way to fix the issue, and I did have one other question.
Please.
Mr. Buckley, I like rhododendrons, but they all bloom in June. Is it possible that we might get something else that might bloom in August, just to have a variety of color throughout the year there instead of all rhododendrons?
Let me address.
Yes, please.
Unless I'm mistaken, you asked for rhododendrons, but I'm sure if you would like something else or another type of thing to mix in with it, that Mr. Martiniak would be glad to do that.
Yeah, no, I just was curious, because we just want something that's, not arborvitae's.
Rhodies usually bloom all summer.
I mean, depending on the variety, you're right,
Yeah.
But, the bottom line is if you want something different, I mean, if you want to put it as a condition or just listen to what I say, but I would put it in the permit, because no matter what I say, it has no bearing, because Mr. Martiniak could sell it tomorrow, although he doesn't have any plans to. And the next person can just say, well, it's not in the permit, so if that's something you want us to do, then that's fine.
Yeah, we could put it in as a condition that they'd be assorted flowering.
Sure, that's fine.
And if you have any particular ones you'd like them to review, then please get that information to them.
And just talk to Scott
Yeah.
directly. He's his neighbor.
Anything else from the board?
No?
Any further questions, Mr. Sides?
One other question that you had brought up, Kevin, was about the access onto Granite Street and the quote,
We're having
walk that was going
trouble
to
hearing
block
you because of
the vision.
I'm sorry, say that again, please. There was a vacuum in the hall.
As people were pulling out of the driveway, you were concerned about looking to the left and having their vision blocked.
Well, my concern was a physical thing that's been there for hundreds of years, which was the boulder, and I was questioning why they chose to turn the building the way they did, and you very rightly said, well, it's on my property, you don't have any right to take it down. So, the board understood that perspective. I think, on the one hand, I think you're getting a lot of what you wanted, which was not to have the other side of the building facing you and having,
Oh, yeah, no.
people in your backyard. So, I guess I'm failing to understand what your point is.
Well, when we looked at it, because I met Mr. Buckley there one day when he was there, and it's not really the rocks, but it's just a bunch of trees on the corner that are on my property.
Right.
And I've told him that, with the exception of the very large oak tree, anything that Mr. Martiniak wants to do to kind of clear that out to improve the sight line, he's more than willing to do. I mean, I'm more than willing to let him do.
So, Mr. Chairman, that was, Mr. Seitz and I did meet on site, and I did put that on, it's on sheet L 1.0 again. There's a note in that corner, which is what he and I were talking about. Coordinate with Mr. and Mrs. Sides on removal of low brush in this area to improve sight distance.
Okay. So it says that you'll coordinate with Mr. Sides and try
Because
to
it's his
work,
property, yeah.
right, try to work that out. Is that satisfactory?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Anything else?
No?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Yes, please.
So moved. No, motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I took the liberty of drafting findings and conditions for the board in case you were going to vote
Okay,
to,
would you like to read them into the records first, please?
no?
I'm just giving her a hard time.
I would make a motion that the board approve the special permit for four-unit multifamily dwelling, 30 Granite Street by Cowbrook Construction, subject to both standard conditions as well as conditions outlined by the planning staff and recommendations from the Design Review Committee. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, as well as the findings, okay.
Before you vote, just realize that you need to activate Mr. Murphy to participate in place of Ms. Vasili.
Okay. So, do we need a motion to do that?
Yes.
Is there a
Sorry.
motion to activate Mr. Murphy so we can vote on this matter?
Yeah.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Now we gotta start over.
No, there's a motion on the table.
Yeah, you have that, Diana.
So is there a motion to approve? Or we
Well,
did that?
Jeff made a
But Jeff
motion.
made a motion.
I second it.
Gary seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman,
You're very welcome.
members. And I like your,
Luck to one and
I like
all.
your shirt.
Hopefully it'll be a good project and everyone will be happy with it.
Sure I will.
I hope so.
Anything else we need to do tonight? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes, so moved,
I got a
yes.
question.
What?
You have to go
Oh,
before
sorry,
the
we already,
selectmen to have him appointed, so
we never got, well, last time
We
we.
do. Yes,
That's
but you have to
scheduled
be
yet?
willing to do that first.
Yeah, yes.
okay.
But yes, we do. We'll have to go there and then
Gary's asking.
Tom's
do we
aware of
have
the
to
fact
have
that if he
a
wants to
joint
continue
meeting
on,
with
we'll
select board
run in
to
the
appoint
spring.
Tom to take his position?
So that, and I found out after the fact that that's a state regulation, not a.
We don't have to do that now, do we? No.
And Jeff was saying it'd run for the remainder of Tracy's time, not a new 3 years. It would be.
But it was the same as what
Yeah,
your time was
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah,
yes.
right.
Right, correct. You're willing?
Yeah.
So you're actually
I got nothing else to
counting
do.
how long the sentence is for?
Did we adjourn?
We need to adjourn. All
Well,
those
now
in
you
favor?
can adjourn.
Aye.
Aye.